In preparation for the final stages of your divorce, or at the completion of your divorce, you should ensure the following pieces of change are done. 1, make sure that you have opened your retirement accounts in order to transfer any distribution to your name. 2, if you have retirement accounts, make sure that you've changed the beneficiary designation from your spouse to either your children, your sister, your mother, whoever you want it to be. You should update your will so that you have a will that is dated after the divorce finalization, and you should name your new intended beneficiaries. You should also make sure to name any trustee if the children are going to be receiving assets from you, and a custodian of your children at the time of your death in the event the other party passes before you. You want to make sure that any real estate is transferred or personal property, such as your vehicle. Make sure you call your insurance company, get new auto insurance, call your health insurance, update your life insurance. There's a lot of work to be done after the divorce is over just to implement those terms. As part of your estate planning, you should consider completing a last will and testament, which is going to decide where your assets go, and in the event of minor children, going to identify your wishes with respect to their custody. You should update your living will so that you have identified who is going to make those decisions for you and what is your preference. And you should update any power of attorney forms so that in the event of your incapacity, you have a trusted individual who can do things like pay your bills and make sure that the children are cared for financially and appropriately. As part of the divorce process, there should have been a lot of conversation, planning, discussion, and movement towards your future career path. Whether you are re-entering the workforce or whether you're having to change your work obligations in order to address your childcare obligations. Going forward after the divorce, it's really important to work at that time to move your career path forward in whatever the identified way is. So if you were a police officer who was working a lot of overtime and you're reducing the overtime in order to have your children with you, you're going to want to make sure that you work on how that reduction is going to impact not only your future growth within your position, but also how it's going to impact your financial picture. Also, if you're someone who's re-entering the workforce, now's the time to really network and build your career and build your book and build your portfolio, especially when your ex-spouse has the children with him or her. The biggest tip for co-parenting I can give you is to remember that your children are watching. They are going to learn how to treat each of you by how you treat each other, and they are going to learn how to treat others by watching you treat each other a certain way. So if you always remember that your children are watching, you will find that common goal, that common ground, and the common respect. Getting divorced is the beginning of your next chapter. And that means that you should be looking forward to any potential future modifications. Ways in which you can do that most effectively: child custody. Keep a calendar. Is the parenting time being honored? Is the parenting time being exercised by the other parent? Is there a chronic cancellation? Is there a chronic request for the other side to take the child? Is the child always being left with a grandparent? Keep a diary, keep a calendar, keep some way of identifying this chronic patterned behavior. Support. If you suspect there is a substantial change in circumstance to the other party's income, that would be a good time to raise the red flag. How would you know that? Did they buy a new house? Did they buy a new car? Are they commuting to the city every day now and you suspect they're making more money? Are they a public employee and you've done some investigation and they got an enhancement in their income or their title? These are ways to know whether or not support, whether it's alimony or child support, should be reconsidered. that is something you take into account for the entirety of your post-divorce support obligation, parenting time, or custody. If there is a substantial change in either of your interaction with the children, that could mean that it's appropriate to change the schedule. Or if you are predominantly caring for your children and you have decided that you want to relocate, that is obviously a reason to go back and seek a modification of your parenting time order. If you've been notified that your spouse or former spouse intends to relocate, you absolutely want to make sure that you retain counsel immediately to address the issue of parenting time in the event of a relocation. Relocation is a significant change of circumstance that should be dealt with immediately, not after the children have already left. These are some quick tips on post-divorce life. When you work with our firm, we will give you a handout on tips, pointers, and must-dos after your divorce is finalized. Give us a call at Jersey Coast Family Law to help you with your next phase.